Donald Trump is trying to pander to Muslim and Arab American communities, whether it's talking about how much he loves Arabs on Saudi state television or doing photo ops with Muslim mayors in Michigan, despite a record shows that he's clearly worse for Palestinian people in Gaza and the West Bank. In fact, even as he's seeking Arab American votes, Trump reportedly told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on a call last month, do what you have to do. Joining me now is Wajahat Ali, author of The Left Hook on Substack and co-host of the Democracy-ish podcast and journalist and Palestinian policy expert. Rula, my friend, I am going to start with you. In short, what would it mean for Palestinians and for folks in Lebanon if Donald Trump were president?
Well, Donald Trump presidency is fascism on steroid. I think Mark Milley, when he called them fascist to the core, he meant it. I think it would be basically what he told Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister that is being accused of being a threat to Israel by another prime minister, Ehud Olmert, is basically saying, finish the job. The job is ethnic cleansing of Gaza, the annexation of the West Bank, which he promised Sheldon Adelson widow, Miriam Adelson, that they would annex the West Bank, and basically you will see what Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper, happening, which is basically the Gaza formula will become the tactic of Gaza, the basically massive bombing, massive slaughter and starvation and the killing of hospital. Killing every condition of life, you will see that kind of doctrine exported to the West Bank, and now we're seeing it in Lebanon. We're seeing that Trump, who doesn't believe in American Constitution or America's democracy, doesn't believe in international law, it will mean that America and Israel will be allies with fascist dictators. They will be fine with what Putin is doing. They will import and export ethno-nationalism and fascism on steroid. For me, the most worrying part of all of this, Trump is exploiting what the Democratic Party didn't do and the Democrats did not do in Michigan and towards the Arabs. They didn't need to do much. They needed just to go to these areas and tell Arab Americans the same way they told Polish Americans, we hear you, we might not agree, but we will enforce America's law. National Security Memorandum number 20, the Leahy law, that obligate any government to basically stop funding and arming any military unit that is using starvation as a weapon of war. They're not doing that even when the ICC, the ICJ, the International Criminal Court is demanding these measures to stop the starvation and the mass slaughter in Gaza and beyond.
And you've taken a lot of heat, Wajahat Ali, for you've recently wrote an op-ed, sort of doubling down on what you did on social media, saying that you believe that despite everything that you just heard Rula say, it's still a better choice to vote for Kamala Harris than Donald Trump. Why?
Yeah, I'm always used to the heat. It's okay. I like it spicy. I agree with Rula that President Biden has been a moral failure on Gaza. There's no question about it. And he could have and should have and still can do much more to stop what I believe is an ongoing genocide. And Donald Trump will be far worse on that issue and every other issue as well. Donald Trump will both be genocidal and a fascist. Just for the United States of amnesia, I want to remind people that Donald Trump said, I think Islam hates us in 2016. He's the one who said, I saw Muslims celebrate 9/11. Total BS lie. He's the one who promoted the birther ban conspiracy, right? Against President Obama, which is both racist and Islamophobic. Just today, folks, J.D. Vance, his vice president, on Joe Rogan's podcast, repeated the hateful anti-Sharia conspiracy from 10 years ago and said that Minnesota is taken over by Sharia and they apparently do the adhan, the call to prayer, and that the UK will one day be an Islamist city. He said that today, folks. Also, when it comes to Palestine, when it comes to Palestinians, Donald Trump doesn't care. He said he will bar Palestinian refugees. He said he will do another Muslim ban. He said there will be ideological screening for Arab and Muslim immigrants. And like Rula said, he has promised Miriam Adelson to annex the West Bank, and there will be waterfront properties for Jared Kushner and his buddies in Gaza. This man is cosplaying as a lover of Muslims and Palestinians, but he's a bad cosplayer. The only cosplay he can do is a garbage man. I think that fits him perfectly. On every other issue, Joy, as you know, as you've talked about, he will be terrible. And I want to say this one final thing. I'm a Muslim. I believe that I have to do the least amount of harm and the greatest good. I have to take care of not just Muslims, but my neighbors as well. Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy, to women, to our elders who need Social Security, to people who need Obamacare. He does not believe in climate change, and he is a racist and a white supremacist. He does not like Muslims, Arabs, Palestinians, and Jews, which is why we have African Americans. You go down the list. Haitians, Puerto Ricans.
Yeah.
Let's go down the list.
Yeah.
Which is
Or
why
women.
we need a multicultural coalition to come and defeat him, and at the same time, pressure Kamala Harris and Democrats to do more. They can do so much more
Yeah.
to help Palestinians. They have the leverage.
The last word to you on this, Rula. Talk a little bit about what the Trump side is doing in Michigan, because they're lying.
They're being very savvy. To be honest, again, we've been trying to reach to the coalition, to this multi-ethnic, multiracial coalition, to make them understand that the issue of Palestine is not actually a foreign policy issue. It's actually an issue of social justice, racial justice, climate justice. It's an issue of justice, and even economic justice. When you spend $23 billion to bomb and annihilate Gaza, and to empower the most far-right government in Israel that Israelis themselves are protesting against. And then you talk about inflation and other things, and then you leave the room open for Donald Trump. He's exploited it in 3-4 ways to say to the American Jews, basically that she is not good on Israel.
Right.
But also he's lying to the Muslim and say, well, you know what? I will offer you Lebanon, I'll save Lebanon for the Christian, I'll save Lebanon, and I'll bring peace, which is a big lie.
Yeah.
He will never bring any peace because obviously we understand his genocidal supremacist mindset. He is actually weaponizing their fear and their anxiety. They've been watching their children being slaughtered, but he's using his son-in-law. And we need to pay attention not to Jared Kushner this time, but to Tiffany husband, who is of Lebanese origin. He's using his Arabic heritage. And go to the Lebanese and say, decouple yourself from the Palestinians. You will be saved. But
and they'll go.
They will go.
Yeah, it is. I wish we had more time. Wajahat Ali, but this is the stuff people need to be talking about in the community. Wajahat Ali, Rula Jibril, thank you both very much. And up next, new report.